Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Today we invited here at Ukraine Crisis Media Center the specialists and experts and representatives of local government that deal with the issues that is called policy on small architectural forms. So kiosks that are in the city. And we understand that the problem is deeper than that. We are trying to find consensus between local government, local community. This government represents small and medium-sized businesses that should be the basis of any economic development in order to get consensus around competition and opportunities that this competition creates, and to form the work of the community. We try to hear different opinions and views about the problems and obstacles on this way, those problems that can be solved by different decisions, by bylaws, or negotiating issues among ourselves, and also we invited entrepreneurs. We have them in this hall, and we will have some questions from them later. So we address one more simple question to all the speakers, and then you will be able to ask questions. And also via Skype, we will have our colleague from Lviv, chief architect, and we would like to hear his opinion as well. The first question will be to you. Can you name key problems that obstruct the activity of local communities and entrepreneurs? How to improve the policy in the sphere to make it more positive? Good afternoon, Paulzun Yuri Yurievich. Firstly, I would like to say that Kyiv city doesn't do any actions against local business. We proposed complex and comprehensive system how to solve these issues. So these small architectural forms can help people, and we also want to have some repair works, minor repairs and overhauls in order to solve these issues. And also the main problem of the small architecture forms is that there are shadow issues involved. There is illegal employment, and that takes opportunities away from medium-sized business. And we see that many premises on the first floors and the ground floors of the building are leased to the business. So, and what is the difference between this legal and illegal? So there should be some payments made to the city, and if the businessmen pay this money to the department, so in this way they can continue their business, and they won't be this business won't be taken away. Do we have Skype connection? We don't have it at the moment. Antimonopoly committee representative, I know that you have different point of view on this topic. So the question to you, what is missing in order to create effective competition in the sphere? Thank you, Roman.
Ще раз. Це можна буде керувати презентацією. Я зрозумів. Зараз презентацію починати, так? Можете, так. Ну, почнемо з загальних даних.
So general data on the number of small architectural forms in Kyiv city. This is open information. About 11,000 So legal 6.5 thousand, and average so they earn 1.5 thousand hryvnias each per day. On the 7th of March this year, Kyiv City Council adopted a decision to ban the selling of alcohol products in the small architectural forms, but alcohol can be sold in big shops, and this violates competition law in Ukraine. And Kyiv City Council did not coordinate this decision with Antimonopoly Commission, but they had to do it according to legislation of Ukraine. The decision mentioned an illegal decision of Kyiv City Council was signed by Mayor of Kyiv and published in capital newspaper. After this, Antimonopoly Committee got many complaints because of violations of law and constitution of Ukraine from enterprises and civil organizations, and also case was started on this anti-monopoly committee, especially Kyiv department. We asked the representatives of Kyiv City Council, but they didn't respond on our proposals. On the 8th of June 2016, Kyiv Oblast Territorial Department of Anti-Monopoly Committee took decision and decided that the decision of Kyiv City Council is illegal and it should be cancelled during the month. So the ban to sell alcohol in small architectural forms and kiosks restored competition. And in my opinion, Kyiv City Council deputies know about the situation, and I don't understand the position of legal department that passed this decision to be adopted. As of today, there is information in open sources that in the City Council they prepared the project, the draft decision that this year there will be new decision taken that will ban selling during the night, and we do not know whether only in the small architectural forms or everywhere. So this was not coordinated with the Anti-Monopoly Committee, and we do not have cooperation at the moment with the city authorities. So as for now, we have two major problems. The first one, small architectural forms, those businessmen who pay the share that is required of by city administration. And the second problem, that all small architectural forms are in the situation where they are in worse position than large shops, and then I would like to ask Mykola Soroka, independent expert on production development, to tell your opinion. What other problems can influence on enterprises, and how can we solve these problems? Look, the issue of small architectural forms is questionable. That there are a lot of opinions on this. The main problem is legal chaos. Entrepreneurs cannot actively work. If there is legal or illegal kiosk and it is demolished, this destroys competition and activity and desire to do business. So my subjective view, there should be kiosks, but not like it is today. It should be coordinated concept at the level of state, at the level of city, that they should be the same, they should be legal, in order that this entrepreneur could, through the contract, should get this place, this kiosk, to do the business. And second, the state destroys one thing and doesn't create alternatives. They destroy business and do not create environment to legally earn money. And if we have such a concept, we can deal with these issues. So Sofia Square, Christmas, you saw those kiosks there. So we can do it at the level of regions, city and state. So this is our view. And if there is such a concept and it will be regulated, then entrepreneurs will benefit and the state will benefit as well. The entrepreneurs will be able to do business. They will be able to hire people to employ them, and the city will get transparent earnings from this activity, and the state will get the increase of the economy through entrepreneurship. So the problems we are discussing, they should be included in this program. Do I understand it clearly? Yes, 100%. There should be clearly established rules. There should be legal regulation of this issue. If there is no such regulation, there won't be anything at all, any effect from the discussion, because everyone knows that these kiosks, they work like this because there is demand for this. So if you can not fight it, you should head it, and to legalize the issue. Thank you. Do we have Skype connection? So it will be established in 5 minutes. We will, Lviv will join the discussion. And 2 questions to Igor. First, your attitude towards the difference in selling alcohol, and second, do you know what city administration do on systemic level? Can they propose some overall concept of this? I will start with the second issue. Kyiv city administration proposed the system of placement of permanent small architectural forms. Key factors are the placement of these kiosks, the infrastructure, and also social importance of these architectural forms. Also, we should make Kyiv city attractive, and some architectural forms do not make it attractive for international guests and investors. And question number 1 about prohibition of selling alcohols and small architectural forms. We as city power try to do our city more attractive, and there should be permanent shops that should sell alcohol, and if there are legal violations in this issue, this will be dealt with on a legal level, and from Antimonopoly Committee some recommendations and claims were received, and we will deal with these issues through our legal department. So we have Skype connection. Mr. Chaplynskyi, head architect of the Lviv city. We ask you to join our discussion with the one issue, but several other issues arose. So is there more consensus in Lviv between the government and small and medium-sized business? Because those who were in Lviv, this is tourist city, we see that this issue is better resolved, that you found more consensus on this. And how do they regulate the selling of alcohol at night? And third, is there a comprehensive concept of development of small architectural forms in the city, because we see that this is what we really need. So 3 questions interconnected. Good afternoon. These are good questions. I see. So about cooperation of business and power, I believe that in Lviv situation is better. Of course, there are many accusations, but there are some reverse trends. So the issue of small architectural forms, this is something from the era of poverty. So you cannot see this in other cities, and the cost of area in the small architectural forms, the cost is of space is less than in trade centers. So there were many violations previously. Many deputies were interested in small architectural forms because they were owners, and there was pressure. And we have about 1,700 of such architectural forms, and there was a moratorium on the increase in the number of such architectural units. So if there is something new, so this is the replacement, or destroying the old one and building the new at the same place. So we do not have legal grounds to reject their claims, but this issue, the number of these kiosks is not increased, and this is the benefit. And how to optimize the number of these small architectural forms, so we cannot just destroy them. And there will be a commission headed by deputies, and the preliminary negotiations are on the way in order to understand whether these architectural forms, these obsolete forms, whether they are needed. And if we don't know how to solve some problem, we address to foreign experience and Western experience. For example, of Germany shows that in the context of integrated concept of development of the city, it is possible to discuss such issues with the community, because in the West there is a concept of trading on the ground floors of buildings, and so the ground floors are retail areas. So I believe that this can be the future. So this is new zoning we can do, and we can have this retail area, and they will be good as concerning the price, and people can go shopping there. People can be attracted to this, and these obsolete forms as small architectural forms will be dying out. So those so we can raise the price of raise the cost of space in the small architectural forms, and they can be not good for renting. So what about the selling of alcohol at night? Of course, there are some violations, and during some meetings, the representatives of police come, and there are some addresses from the citizens that the alcohol is sold to underage, or they sell after 10 p.m. But on a systemic level, Lviv fought this, and the shop that sells alcohol after 10 p.m. it is a rare occasion. So it's difficult to buy alcohol after 10 p.m. So do you communicate with other cities in order to share the experience, to create an overall national program? Because in many cities there are positive trends that can be united. So we cooperate with GZ, the organization of Germany. They taught us a lot, and they helped us to create the program of development of the city, and there should be only public transport in the city, in the center of the city, and also other things were proposed by a German side, and all these decisions were implemented, and different conferences are held among the cities on integrated development. And we were in Poltava last year, and in Chernivtsi, and in Lviv. There is permanent program of sharing the experience when the representatives of different regional and city councils come, local government representatives, and we share our experience. And I lectured for Kyivans, for Bila Tserkva residents, Chernivtsi, Vinnytsia, because in Vinnytsia they have good experience, and it is interesting to share information. Thank you very much for joining the discussion. And the question to Yaroslav. You came here and you said that something interesting is developed, such as overall view on this problem, some plan is developed. So please.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I represent the Center of Public Expert Assessment. We are an expert association providing support, technical assistance to profile committees of the Verkhovna Rada. In the framework of one of the projects we have been developing since April, the problems of legislative regulation, and 10 days ago we finished the draft project to amend legal acts, including tax code, because tax code regulates the locations of such small architectural forms and other hardscape facilities to resolve the problems in the territory of Kyiv. The problems are caused by legislative chaos. The first problems, the primary problems are no optimization, no streamlining between the laws. If temporary hardscape facilities such as vases, benches, they are mixed with such small architectural forms as kiosks. This means that the definitions are not applied correctly. In the Center of International Partnership, with whom we cooperate and which received very positive opinions, we cooperate with them. We have a very well-grounded discussion, and I will give you the opportunity to ask questions and to hear the answers then, after several rounds of public discussions and expert discussions, this draft document is ready. Of course, this is only a basic version, and it would be submitted to the Verkhovna Rada. This is a long project, and we invite all the stakeholders to the debates. You were announced as one of the speakers, Mr. Soroka. Well, dear colleagues, the format of debates which was announced, the speakers who were invited, they make their presentation, then we have a series of questions and answers. This is the procedure of our discussion. Mr. Liubomyr Chorniy, senior expert of USAID Program, Leadership in Economic Governance. I would like to ask you, before this session of questions and answers, to give us the outline, what can we change and how can we change the situation. Summarizing is a very difficult scene because the positions differ. The civil society's position may differ from the position of authorities and that of experts. Different cities of Ukraine, they have different experiences. Why this is so and why the problems differ in different cities, because there is no united, no single approach in the legislation. Every city sets its own regulations on the local level, as well as fees are also collected by different methods. Somewhere they are share contributions, somewhere the insurance companies are involved as well, so the experience differ and the problems differ. That is why the positions expressed here, that the problems to be regulated starting with the legislation, this is the only right, the only correct approach. The legislation should be amended, and then the discussion between different interest group, communities, businesses and experts should start. We should understand that every city can have its own specifics, its own historic environment. Somewhere may be development of at least minimum infrastructure is the main thing to satisfy the needs of local community residents. So the interests will differ in different locations, but the general procedure, of course, should be unified through the law. The other question is that businesses in small architectural forms is not very high profit scene. They have small turnovers and they have also small profits, so their expenditure should be minimized as well. So land plots assignment for such small businesses, for small architectural forms, should differ from provision of land plots to some capital projects of constructions. Trade or provision of services in temporary hardware utilities, they should be subject to easier procedures. to help such entrepreneurs. So the legal issue of protection of such entrepreneurs should also be addressed, and absolutely right issue has been raised today. Thank you to Antimonopoly Committee. There are several decisions, not only concerning Kyiv, which protect interests of small entrepreneurs with the use of small architectural forms, which urge that some administrative barriers or restrictions create non-competitive conditions. So this is a huge question, a huge issue to be addressed, and thank you to Antimonopoly Committee for addressing it already. So first, the legislation should be amended, and when the general procedure, which is transparent, is in place, then the specific issue can be resolved. One question to you, just to find out, do you know someone who now is conducting the work on reconciling in the ministries of such legislative drafts? There are many debate platforms. There were several opinion polls. They are mostly interactive ones. One of them has already been completed in the framework of our program. We used internet resources. The second component, the state regulatory service, also raised this issue several times, and the conferences also address this issue. It has been debated in different environments very actively. There is no unified single platform for all Ukrainian discussions which involves the experiences of all cities. No, we don't have such single platform. And now the round of questions and answers. You are welcome. Good afternoon, Krasovsky Alexandr, Deputy Director of the Association of the Entrepreneurs. The platform, the unified platform opportunity has been proposed. Why I responded in such a way? This does not this is not a reality. This is contradictory to fact, what you told here. The only man was for that man who was from the interest group who you lobbied for. Okay, we will register your opinion. Sergei Dorotich. The first thing, I would like to correct all the speakers. I state with all my responsibility there are no legal small architectural forms in the territory of Kyiv, because this is connected to the land code of Ukraine. This is Article 211. No temporary hardscape facility has effective documents proving their right for the land plot, because the share contribution does not prove your right to use this land. And here you can see activists and entrepreneurs. So when an entrepreneur have been paying this share contribution, their small architectural forms anyway have been dismantled. what you told is absolute nonsense. Kyiv city administration cancelled, and Kyiv Rada does not follow the resolutions of the court. It supports building of small architectural forms, which is illegal. Why the situation is like that? Why Kyiv city administration maintains this situation? Tourism and immigration also goes this way. The scheme originates from the times of Chernovetsky being mayor. The entrepreneurs become dependent on the Kyiv administration's resolutions and their payments. The proceeds of their payments can be used voluntarily by the leaders of Kyiv administration. Our leaders, they think that they are wiser than all other civil society members. Just create alternatives, sign land-lease contracts, land-lease agreements, provide documents. The same concerns Lviv, that we will open retail chains on the ground floor. This just create alternatives. In Warsaw, there was a market downtowns. It was there till 2007. And they responded to me, as soon as we become richer, then people will choose themselves where to go, to the market or to the retail chains. And now they don't have any markets downtown. So the solutions are possible only via adoption of new laws binding for cities, administrations of all cities in Ukraine, Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporozhye, Kyiv, whatever. Just don't go the track, the track. Don't think that you are local gods and that you are wiser than the public. Despite all the criticism, you continue to follow your proposals, which the opposition does not support. Just ask activists. Here you can see activists who protect the owners of small architectural forms. We don't have the draft laws. You just come to the land, come to the grassroots. Just a second. So I will ask you, Mr. Igor, as concern the item that all small architectural forms are illegal, and as concern the future of this problem, how to develop the draft law. And the next question to you, Mr. Mykola, just answer the same questions. I would not talk here about legality or about lawfulness or non-lawfulness of small architectural forms. The Department of Kyiv Administration, which is responsible for architectural forms, it is an executive authority of Kyiv City Council, and so they say that we have dismantled such small architectural forms. This is not true, but the audience is saying that my small architectural form has been dismantled. You are telling that this is not true. Just wait for a second. Wait for a second, please. We listen to the responses, and as concerns the draft law, how to make it transparent. Look, the draft law has already been developed. Let's send it to every stakeholder and then have a discussion. Then this document will be efficient but not declarative one, so that the entrepreneurship have real guarantee for conducting their activities, for doing their businesses. And now we are giving the word to the audience. Good afternoon to everyone. I would like to say that 95% of entrepreneurship in Kyiv knows me, but these speakers, they are unknown. Who made opinion polls? We got to know about this meeting by chance. We were not invited. We have not been invited. We announced this event the same way you conducted opinion polling. I know 95% of entrepreneurs well, we don't have the feeling when the bulldozers come to dismantle small architectural forms, the right sector protect the entrepreneurship. Share contributions, are they legal? No, they have been cancelled by court decisions. As concerned share contributions, let's stop this discussion. But as concerned dismantling, when titushkas beat people and destroy their kiosk on Dorogozhitska Street, 2 kiosks have been destroyed. I will put them onto my Facebook page. For 3 days, this wrecks of dismantled kiosks were in place. 1 year ago in Dorogozhitska near military cemetery, just a small architectural form was built where people just drink at night time, and our civil NGO, we will dismantle it. Titushkas beat people. This is non-adequate dismantling. Well, I live myself in the same district in Dorogozhitsy. I would like to talk about systemic things. We have the working group in the Kyiv City Administration. Mr. Panchiy was assigned responsible how to find solutions to this situation. We asked him once that the decision has not been signed during these 2 weeks. At night time, bulldozers visited the kiosks and destroyed them. We will be protecting our interests by all means. Mr. Panchiy was invited, so
So we have time to answer questions. A lot of questions has been raised, and the key issue is communication with entrepreneurs, part of whom are not satisfied how decisions are implemented, and the logic of realization of these issues. Kyiv City Administration and the Department of City Development proposed the owner to leave this space or to provide documents before demolishing, destroying these small architectural forms. If there is no permit for having the small architectural forms, so there will be actions. So the owner can remove the small architectural form if it is illegal. So the question about the possibility to create some working groups together with activists, because the logic and the system, how these issues are discussed in legal sphere, but can this group be created with entrepreneurs in order to directly, together with businessmen, discuss these issues? At the moment, there is commission on placement this small architectural forms, and representatives of business, medium-sized and small business are invited, and there all problematic issues can be resolved. And where will be the next meeting? So there is reorganization, there will be new people on this commission, so we are waiting of the announcement of this commission. Thank you, Roman. Igor, I would like to say that you should coordinate your decisions with the Antimonopoly Committee concerning competition in Kyiv City. Do you know about it? All legal issues should be dealt with legally, and all your proposals that came to the city administration are reviewed. So did you implement our recommendations? There is a legal department that cooperates and deals with the problems you've mentioned. So the problem is like this. Igor is not responsible for this issue. Maybe we should continue our discussion with persons who are directly responsible for this. I would, Anna Minchenko, Antimonopoly Committee Deputy Head. We discussed these issues, and there is beautiful and not so beautiful business, and many people say that small architectural forms are not really beautiful. And in Sofievska Square, these kiosks were really beautiful. But this is business that create competitive market, and we, as the agency that deals with competition, will always defend the business. And in the context of this decision of the City Kyiv Council that was adopted, and we said that some of the points in this we proposed to cancel some of the proposals, and so the lawyers of Kyiv City Council didn't appeal against the decision in several months, so they should appeal to court, because we live in the law-abiding state. So there are collisions in the legal sphere. There is decision of Kyiv City Council 237, and also our decision was also implemented. 2 points should be excluded because of anti-competition, and what can you say to those entrepreneurs who work in retail and sell alcohol in kiosks? There were some limitations up to 30 meters of retail space. So they say that someone comes and say there is a decision that you cannot sell alcohol if your facility is less than 30 square meters. So what is your position? I understand that you are not a representative of the legal department, but you represent local government. And we would like to clarify this issue. Thank you. So there is such a ban on selling the alcohol in kiosks, and contracts on share contribution are not prolonged with such facilities. But legal department carry out its work in this area, and maybe we do not know about all legal issues, but all the legal acts will be implemented and this issue will be resolved. So the decision will be either reviewed or this process will continue. So, for example, if I am an entrepreneur, what can I do? Can I sell alcohol in kiosks or not? According to this decision, yes or no? So I answer. There is a decision of City Council on banning the selling of alcohol, and but I bought this alcohol yesterday. Okay, so we have legal collisions, and these issues are interpreted in different ways. One second, please. Short remark. Igor, do you know who is destroyed now? So, just people. I, for example, see that they brought a document for permanent architectural form for 600 square meters. They said that my facility will be removed. So he should explain the situation, but this is the question to officials that are responsible. Igor cannot answer this question. We understand that there is a problem, that we should have more people here to discuss these issues. There was one more comment. We invited Kyiv City Administration, Ukraine Crisis Media Center, Ukraine Crisis Media Center. Yes, the center invited all the speakers who are here to discuss these issues, and this discussion will be ongoing. So our task is to understand the problem and to continue discussion. Please give the opportunities to others. Your comment. Good afternoon, everyone. Alexandr Melnik. I take part in all-round tables, and I have active position on defending entrepreneurship. Of course, these architectural forms, this is not correct term from the legal point of view, and also this is a architectural form that should be regulated by law, and entrepreneurs do business in these facilities, and there was transfer from the Soviet Union to our independent republics. where our people were really poor and we had to survive somehow. And then these kiosks appeared, but the issue remains, and I support the words of Sergei Dorodych, and there was an opinion of Lviv representatives that till our people are poor, this trend will continue whether you like it or not. You can destroy them, but this trend will exist because entrepreneurs should earn, but this is not big money. Entrepreneurs get up at 4 a.m. They do all the work. I know entrepreneurs, and it is really difficult for them to work. And it's hard work. This is just way to survive. I would like to ask two questions. I would like to ask Igor and the Antimonopoly Committee. So they said about share contribution. So this is big money. From one kiosk, they get 100,000 hryvnias per year, and people get loans to pay this share contribution. This is not a payment to the state budget. I would like to know, where do they send their money to? So we have 6,000 small architectural forms. So in some of them pay 100,000, and others they pay much more. And the next question. You represent Kyiv City Council here, and I would like to ask you. The entrepreneurs said that we tried to create some councils, to conduct some roundtables, we wanted dialogue. And they said this many times, this trend continues, we send letters, we constantly ask, let's get together, let's discuss these issues, but everything remains the same. If Kyiv City Council administration do not want to meet the needs of entrepreneurship, and this process is ongoing, but some demolishing works are on the way also, and this is not a panacea for the small architectural forms. Unless there is a land contract, there would be the scale. So not only moratorium on establishing new facilities, there should be moratorium on demolishing. So we should preserve the situation until its legal resolution. So you destroy the property of people. And the question to the Anti-Monopoly Committee, I thank you for your legal position. I attend your meetings, I provide my comments, and I'm thankful that you deal with the issues of 137 decision of City Council on selling alcohol. And also we see that there is discrimination, and you should you have complaints of entrepreneurs that it is impossible to carry out and do business in the small architectural forms concerning alcohol. Does Anti-Monopoly Commission deal with these issues? What are they going to do concerning this? Thank you. So I would like to tell about removal of these small architectural forms. There was moratorium in 2014. So those kiosks that were placed during 2013 and everything that every kiosk that was placed before this, they had some documents, some passports, all necessary permits provided by the Department of Development of the city, and they were able to make a contract and be placed according to the system that exists now. So this is 6,500 kiosks. So you understand what problem we face. And this is the first question. The second question about cooperation of community, business, and city government, city administration, and the use of funds that are paid for as share contributions. I started this. So payment of this share contribution resolves many issues such as repair works of buildings, of pathways, and removal of these illegal facilities. So 1 second, please. So this money can be are used, or is it a special fund? There is no such an entry in the budget. So this is not in my competence, but the budget allocated for the demolition of this small architectural forms. So one person addressed, his workshop was demolished. It was established before this moratorium. And maybe someone just used the situation. So who is going to answer the question? We are grateful for your active position and for following these decisions that have signs of breach of competition and the situation you identified. We study this issue at the moment. And in order to objectively solve this issue, we should get information from the body that takes appropriate decisions. So we have some problems in this. That's why we attend such meetings, in order to establish communication with local government, to have operative cooperation, to provide adequate assessment whether there are violations. So this is concerning the contest on the passport of this small architectural form. So from 6 a.m.
Рішення, про яке я мала на увазі.
Що можна ввести?
Колеги, дивіться.
Булочки і газети можна, а все інше там...
Секунду, дивіться, я тоді...
So, I propose to do it like this. We go into details that are not clarified. The proposal is like this. We end this discussion today, and in the Crisis Media Center, based on our negotiations, we formulate the questions to responsible people, and I will give you contacts, and you can send your questions to me to have good representation. Then we will send invitation with open date to the representatives of Kyiv City Council at the level of deputy mayor, to representatives of Kyiv Council, to representatives of committees concerning this, and to have agenda of the issues we do not have answers for. So we tried today to formulate these questions, and we thank our participants, and if you have such a desire, you can have your final remarks in order to continue the next time.
Well, please use microphone. Key message is your title and Ukrainian Crisis Media Center in general. This is a very good title. Here we have in our audience the entrepreneurs who don't know where to go when at night time illegal dismantling activities take place. Please give us some telephone number like a hotline. This hotline telephone number will be used by us when our kiosks are dismantled at night time. We will telephone to mass media sources, because when no video cameras of mass media sources are in place, when they do not come to witness these illegal actions, then these people do their illegal dismantling activities. The next. Yes, here there are several things to be divided into different planes. First, general procedure and rules should be formed and made lawful. We need legislative rules. This is the first plane. The other plane is that every city will have its own specifics, so the concept inside the general national rules should be also outlined. What responsibilities, what powers are provided to city and executive authorities. Then some transitional period should be set, and the mechanisms to transfer from this inadequate situation to normal market situation. The situation in Kyiv is due to very frequent changes, reshuffles in the leadership of the city. The amendments process was ongoing. It has been ongoing for many years. The full dot should be placed in this process through mechanisms for transitional mechanism. While small businesses are forbidden to sell alcohol beverages, while large chains are entitled to sell alcohol beverages. This is anti-competitive practices. So the dialogue should continue in order to set transitional mechanisms, and the transition period should be at least 1 or 2 years long, not 1 month or 2 months long. And during these 2 years, the businesses can adjust their activities to the new rules. So to this format we should orient, but without dialogue this is impossible.
And one more important issue that is not disclosed today is the issue of payment for the use of these small architectural forms. I am, as a lawyer, do not see correlation here between the share contribution and the use of these kiosks. So there should be clearly established in the law how it is done. For example, there should be some equity contribution to the local budget, and also how this share contribution is made, and there should be special fund, and this money should go to some legal entities in Kyiv city administration, not there, but to the budget, and there should be used as money from the fund, and everyone should understand in what way this fund is formed and how this money is used. So this is also an important issue. One more important issue the entrepreneur should think about is that whether they should have this land allocated, and there should be simplified mechanism of land allocation, because this is non-permanent architectural form, and whether it is the sign of poverty or not, there are in the world non-permanent structural architectural forms that exist for many years, and they should differentiate the issues. So this non-permanent architectural form can be the result of lack of infrastructure and exist for 5 or 10 years, and this is panacea for the residents. I live in a newly built house, and when you come from work late, so you should buy bread somewhere. So this is to meet the needs of the residents of the city. But there are also seasonal architectural forms, so they are used throughout the world, and in the world there is also non-permanent architectural forms. For example, if there is big empty space and there is no construction, or this place is reserved for the airport, or this is the zone near chemical enterprise where they cannot build houses. So this place won't be used for a long time. So there we can place this non-permanent architectural forms. Or, for example, above some communications, they can establish such non-permanent facility. So all those cases, they should be differentiated and clearly regulated by legislation, because these are different cases, and the cities should identify, taking into account the requirements of the communities, and they should negotiate with business such issues, and they should understand that there is private property of entrepreneurs that is that should be preserved and can't be violated. We understand from this round table that there are more important issues, and together through the dialogue with the city administration and the community and businessmen, we can continue this discussion. Please, you can address to Kyiv City Administration, and we will discuss these issues at the level of the deputies of mayor. Thank you very much for this discussion. We thank Roman for invitation. City Administration is closed for cooperation, so I ask the administration to cooperate with us, and I address them with such proposal, and I ask Igor to tell his to tell Kyiv officials that the decisions should be taken by the city administration in cooperation with the Antimonopoly Commission. So, Anna Michenko, I also want to say that all the decisions of all the bodies, they should be discussed and they should be legal. They shouldn't contradict those laws, and they should be implemented also in adherence with legislation, and I hope that we will continue with this in the future. I believe that we see that these problems are really acute in the sphere. There are many unregulated issues, and in every city there are acute problems in this. We understand that there are problems, and we should create balanced system of regulation and legal order how to place these small architectural forms. The only thing I disagree, we can believe that small architectural forms, they are obsolete, but this is a basis for mobile business, for trade, for catering. We cannot say that these forms are obsolete, that this is some sort of compensation and survival. I believe that this is a technological sphere of carrying out business, and this should be developed in communities, and the businessmen should use these small architectural forms in their activity. Of course, everyone agrees that we should clearly coordinate these issues on a legal level. Everyone should understand how these facilities are placed, and that the money that come from this, it should go to the budget. And this money will be spent for the city, for the well-being of people. So they will understand that they can work legally, and until this complex regulation, there won't be any developments in the sphere. That's why we should not create single-type facilities. They should be just they should be quality small architecture. I thank all our participants. I thank all the speakers. So this may be the first session, and we are starting to prepare the next meeting. So during several days I got calls from entrepreneurs who asked who organizes the meeting, and we say, yes, this is us, Ukraine Crisis Media Center. We want to discuss such issues, and we have open date for the next meeting. Thank you.